let's see how this 2-liter performs. Woo! Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's going to be going over the all-new Ford Bronco Sport Heritage Edition. First and foremost though, a huge shout out and thank you to the Larry Miller Ford here in Provo, Utah for giving me some time with this Bronco Sport. I'm going to include a link to their inventory in the description down below so you can check out what they have currently. If you have any questions or need any help, just ask for John Jenks. And then on a side note, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into it. So under the hood, we have a turbocharged 2-liter 4-cylinder that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 21 around town and then 26 on the highway, with power outputs being 250 horsepower and then 277 pound-feet of torque. Now, before we go to the front end, I do want to mention, if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. So starting with the hood, you guys can see it's raised there on either side, and this color is called Peak Blue if you're wondering. We've got these cool LED daytime running lights here, and then look at the grille, how it's all white. You've got the Bronco logo there in the center. It's bright red. It definitely pops out. And then we do have some fog lights down below, and then you guys can see the tow hooks there at the very bottom. And putting it together, well, not exactly my cup of tea, but maybe it's yours? Coming on the side here, our tire and wheel setup is 235, 65, 17 in the front and over in the rear as well. And yeah, we got these white steelies, which I actually think look really cool. And by the way, with the rear, this does have the twin clutch system, just like the Badlands. And frankly, just like the Badlands, it has really aggressive tires. And look at this, we got this cool Bronco Sport badge. And then taking a look at the side profile here, I think it looks pretty good with the white roof and everything. Again, not exactly my favorite color combo, but you know, it works. So here's our key fob. You guys can see we've got our unlock function, our lock function, remote start, and then we have the Bronco logo there on the back. Now this is pretty cool. We can press this button and that will unlatch the glass here, which is fun. And then you can press this and that actually does the entire hatch. Now in the back here, you guys can see that we have this shelf here that you can basically pull forward. So then I guess you can have cargo on the top and on the bottom as well. And then underneath, we do have a spare tire. Look at that, we got a little button to turn on the light, and then we have some outlet action here on the other side. And then when you're all done, just plop. Really cool looking taillights here in the back, and then you guys can see the Bronco Sport badge here with the Ford badge down below, and then we have parking sensors here at the bottom with the receiver hitch. And well, putting it all together, it's unique, that's for sure. If that's what you're going for, this will provide it. And yes, the colors continue. So you've got this brown leather with like this neon orange stitching inside of it. And that continues onto the seats, so you can see more of the orange stitching, and then look at like how it's white there in the perforations. It's unique. Legroom in the back of the Bronco Sport, it's okay. We got these little holders here, and then you got some storage in that area of the seat. And then we've got some vents here in the back as well as a full power outlet setup. And then headroom back here is fantastic. And would you look at this? We got a cup holder armrest. Now taking a look at the front door panel, you guys can see again with the brown leather, and then look at the stitching that goes across. We've got all of our window controls right here with our mirror adjustments, memory seat functionality, and then we do have blind spot monitoring with the mirrors too. And then with the front seat, first off, Bronco horse, and then you've got that same design as the back seats. And I do want to say the seats are really comfortable. And then here's the power adjustments on the side. We've got our light controls right here, and then you guys can see steering wheel is manually adjustable. Taking a look at the steering wheel, you guys can see really nice padding all around with the darker stitching. We have paddle shifters on the back for the 8-speed automatic, some controls for the center stack, phone controls, voice command controls, volume controls as well. We also have adaptive cruise control with steering assist. And then we have our turn signal stock, and then our windshield wiper stock. Now with the gauge cluster, it's got the Bronco Sport's normal gauge cluster here, so you can scroll through different menus to different bits of info on the vehicle and systems within the vehicle. We still have the GOAT mode, so we have our normal, eco, sport, slippery, mud ruts, sand, and then our rock crawl mode. Yes, this Bronco Sport can in fact do it all. In reverse, we do have a backup camera with trajectory lines that turn with the steering wheel, and resolution is pretty solid. Now, as for the rest of the infotainment system, first off, response time is solid. We got a shortcut bar here at the bottom, and yes, it does have the plastic covering on the screen, which kind of gets in the way a little bit, but I think that shows you just how good the screen is. Now, we've got some controls down below for like the radio, for example, your auto stop start, and this is actually for the camera system, so notice that's the front camera view, which is pretty cool. And then we have our stop start right next to that, and then some storage. Dual zone climate controls. We have heated seats for the front, heated steering wheel, and then this is our charging area with a wireless phone charging pad and some USB action. We have our dial shifter for the 8-speed automatic. Again, it's got that manual shift function built in. Couple cup holders. And then you guys can see we've got our parking brake here with our auto hold. And would you look at this? Our GOAT modes. We've got our off-road cruise control. That is your stability control. 4-wheel drive lock. And then this has the twin clutch system, like I said earlier. So it kind of mimics a rear locking differential. Wow, that was bad. And then taking a look at the center console, you can see that neon stitching continues with the brown leather trim. And then decent storage space here with some USB action. And pretty normal glove box. And then up top here, you got controls for the sunroof, and it just has like a normal sunroof, but it's also automated with the sunshade, which is interesting. So 2023 Ford Bronco Sport, and well, if you're standing up, I'd recommend you sit down before you look at the price on this thing. So we've got our base price here, $44,655, and you can see that pretty much everything is no charge because it all comes standard with this Heritage Edition. Total MSRP, $46,400 for a Bronco Sport with some white wheels. Let's see how it drives. Talk about visibility before we set off. Here's visibility over the hood. Both the mirrors do have blind spot monitoring, and throughout the rest of the rear. And with that being said, well, I guess I have to adjust my GoPro a little bit. Okay, well, we're going to set off there. I just had a wrestling match with my GoPro. The head strap was all funky on it, actually, funny enough. But this should drive just like a Badlands in theory, because this is basically a Badlands with some makeup on it. That's the best way to look at this Heritage Edition. It's a Badlands with some makeup on it. But the Badlands does not drive bad. Shocker. I don't know. I don't know what the joke. I don't know what it is with the jokes today. They're pretty bad today. But anyways, seat comfort's really good. Like I mentioned earlier, these seats are super comfortable. I love them. I love the feel of them too. They just look and feel fantastic. Really high quality. I wish that Ford had seats like this in more of their vehicles, frankly. But anyways, ride quality is good with this. You got to remember, this ultimately is just like a smaller unibody crossover, and so it kind of drives like one. But I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing for the Bronco Sport, because overall it drives pretty well, I'd have to say. And some other stuff with this turbocharged engine, it's pretty solid on the low end. It's got good torque. Like it gets up and it moves this vehicle at a pretty solid pace, and it looks like we finally are able to get up and get moving here. Let's see how this 2-liter performs. Woo! That thing's fast. That thing is fast. Wow, that's fun. So yeah, it's really solid torque and horsepower from the 2-liter 4-cylinder, and I think they've done a good job with this overall setup. Let's kind of see how the steering is. Yeah, pretty light but relatively direct as well. So overall, you know, you're basically paying a price premium for a Badlands. That's really what this is. This is nothing new. Like, Ford always does this with their, you know, more quote-unquote iconic vehicles, right? They make Heritage Edition, charge some more money for it, and then in 20 years from now, the Heritage Edition is going to be the one that everyone wants. It's a collector, and they pay tons of money for it, which it's just the world that we live in. But, you know, I think this thing looks weird, so I guess if you're into weird, I guess if you're into the Heritage, whatever it may be, then this will work for you. It's definitely out there. But let me know what you guys think about this Heritage Edition Bronco Sport. I think it's interesting. Anyways, see ya!